Welcome to Ask Becky Anything. Hi, and welcome to Accelerating Your Wealth with your host, myself, Rebecca Robertson. I'm an independent financial advisor and wealth coach. I'm the director of Evolution Financial Planning, who is also our sponsor for today's show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share and review this episode. With your help, we'll reach more people who can benefit from the show. Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I've just got to let you know, are you enjoying the shows? If you are and there's more you want to listen to, then check out our quiz. You'll find the link below. You can fill out these questions and it will basically tell you what area of your finances you should focus on. So it might be business, it might be you're getting divorced, it might be investing. There's about 9 categories. And what it will give you is a playlist to the relevant categories of all the shows we've done that apply to that area and that subject. So what it allows you to do is super fast learn about the subject that you need to know super quick without having to scroll through about over 130 episodes currently. So I hope you find that helpful, and do let us know your feedback leave us a review via your preferred platform. Thanks.
Hey Rebecca, it's Linda Stevens from womenswellbeing.me. I would love you to explain more about leases, the lifetime investment savings accounts for 18 plus kids. I know that for many of us, who only have been learning about investments much later on in life, we want our children to start investing from a much earlier age and reap the benefits of long-term investing. So to learn a little bit about leases, I think would be really, really, really great. Thank you.
Beep, beep. Thank you, Linda. Great question, and it's something that I think. So, leases or lices, depending on how you want to pronounce it, it's LISA. So it's a lifetime individual savings account. Was introduced by, I think, the Conservative Party a number of years ago, and they're not massively marketed. They did a big push on it at the beginning, and it was really to kind of rebrand pensions. They have the similar tax advantages, not exactly the same, but very similar. But it was almost like saying, okay, we want to try and get people putting into their pensions, thinking long-term investments. How can we do that? Because pensions aren't like the buzzword. It's not sexy. So you can buy your first home or save for later life with these LISAs. You can put £4,000 each year until you're 50, then it stops. And you must make your first payment into your ISA before you're 40. The government will add 25% bonus to your savings, a maximum of £1,000 obviously a year, so 25% of the 4,000. And this does count towards your annual ISA allowance of 20,000 a year. So if you're, when you turn 50, you are not able to pay into your lifetime ISA or earn the 25% bonus. Your account will stay open and your savings will still earn interest, and you'll still get investment returns. You can hold a cash or a stocks and shares. So you can have it in cash or you can have it in stocks and shares, a combination or both. So if you've got, 18 plus year olds, you might have done a junior ISA for them. That will then convert into an ISA, and that will just carry on as an ISA. But with an ISA, a traditional ISA, stocks and shares, cash or junior, you don't get this 25% little bonus, okay? You only get that in the LISA. And that was sort of the spin on the pension side, because you get that 25% with pensions if you're making personal contributions through workplace pension businesses. You do get tax relief, but it's slightly calculated differently. But what it does mean is that then you're basically able to access that money to buy your first home. And for a lot of people, that first buying of their first home is the issue. The thing is, you'd need to be doing that every year for quite a few number of years to buy, have a decent deposit for anywhere. If you're putting down 10%, you probably need to be saving for a good 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So people really need to be doing, if they're looking to save for a deposit for a house, they need to be doing that as well as additional other savings. So you could use then a cash ISA alongside your LISA to then allow you to use it to buy property, for example. And that's really what people are looking to do. If they've got bank of mum and dad, or they've got some inheritance, that means that they didn't actually need to use their LISA allowance, or because they've got this deposit money coming from another source, then they could use their LISA and use it more for sort of pension, for later life planning. But a lot of people, I think, should focus then on their pensions to keep it simple. That's my personal sort of preference. I see a lot of 20, 30-year-olds, and they end up having cash ISAs here and LISAs there and then stocks and shares there, and they don't really know what they're doing. There's no strategic planning in that. They've just added and added and added and added. And sometimes it might be better to look at your workplace scheme and pay into your pension through work, because if you increase it, they'll match it. So they're not looking at the whole spectrum. So it's worth taking a step back and looking at your whole finances. But for people that don't have, bank of mum and dad or inheritance money coming in to pay over deposit for a place, then a LISA is a great way to be saving. And then if they don't use it for the house, then it is there for the longer term. But they can't just cash it in and use it for a car or for something else. So that's my bugbear with it, because I like people to have access to money when they're younger. So, if you have it in a normal ISA, yes, and you won't get the 25% bonus from the government, but at least then if they don't need that money to buy a house, then it's not stuck in their pension until they're way past their 50. It's not a pension, but it's not stuck in there until they're way after 50, and actually they have to wait until they can access it until a later life. They can use it for a car or a holiday or something else. So I hope that answers your question. If you're somebody that is not sure what to do with their finances, maybe you're working and you're not sure what to do with the bonuses you've got at work, or maybe you started a business and you've got profits and you're not sure what you should be doing to enable you to A, pay yourself more, or B, potentially retire earlier. Maybe you're somebody that's thinking about, do I overpay on the mortgage? You've received some inheritance. You've got lots of questions around your finances and what to do next. Then check out Evolution Financial Planning, who are regulated independent financial advisors and financial planners that can help you make some of those big decisions in life.
Hi Becky, my question for you is, what would your advice be to a woman that has never really been done with the whole pension thing, so doesn't have a pension at the grand old age of 45? What would your advice be to her to make sure that she is financially stable should she want to retire at, say, 60?
Okay, so that's Sam Barefoot. She is your social media bestie, I believe is what she calls herself. She's amazing on TikTok. If you want, she's really funny. So go and check her out. So great question, Sam. This is quite normal for a lot of women. They get to like late 40s, somewhere, mid to late 40s, and think, oh, maybe I should be thinking about that sort of 60, 65. Don't really want to be working until you're 70, or when the state pension may or may not kick in. I think it will kick in. It just might be delayed. I think mine's meant to be 67. I think 68, actually. I think it's going to go probably like 70, 72 by the time I actually get it. So being financially stable is a really tricky question. So when we first look at financial planning, what I'm looking for is for there to be a roof over their head. So ideally not renting. So that can be where it's tricky. If you've gone through a divorce or a separation, lots of tricky stuff going on, possibly had career breaks, possibly gone through the menopause. A lot of women go through these sort of changes and things happening that means that they're maybe not always where they want to be. And it means that then they're having to sort of, well, do I buy a house? Do I put into my pension? And stability of having a roof over your head is quite crucial, I feel, when you go into retirement. So if you can be in a position where you're able to do both, then great. How you prioritise really does depend on how confident you are and comfortable you are about renting when you're older. The issue with renting and not having a mortgage paid off is that obviously a proportion of your pension income would need to then go on that rent, which means you need more of a pot. So it's a bit of a sort of chicken and egg kind of thing going on. So that financial stability is really does dependent on your personal circumstances and whether you'll have a roof and a mortgage paid off. Let's just assume you have, and that mortgage has been paid. So you've got to 60, the mortgage has been cleared. How much is enough is a big question. And I think we've got another Ask Becky question coming up, which is very, very similar in the same stance. Now, for a lot of people, when I say, oh, this is how much you should be putting into your pension, they run scared and they panic. The main thing is that you start somewhere. And you look at, okay, I can only afford this much, so that's how much I can do right now. And then put a diary date every 3 months, every 6 months, and look at your budgeting, look at your spending, look at where you can cut it back. Ask yourself the question, if my kids needed another £100 a month for a hobby, could I do that? Would I find the money for that? Yes, I could. We have to have that kind of emotional connection to our longer term plans with our pensions as we do to our children and meeting their needs right now, because all we're going to do is create a situation where we're going to be reliant on them when they're adults to look after us, and there's going to be a massive role reversal. So we have to prioritise maybe certain things that we're not necessarily important right now to create that financial stability. So in terms of starting, I think I've already answered this in one of the previous questions, because it's a very similar question that people ask. So I will repeat myself a little here, but I don't know which ones you've listened to so far. So if you don't know where to start, is to go to your bank, go to a provider that you already know, you like, you trust, because there's familiarity. So you might know their website, you might know, it doesn't mean to say they're the best platform or the most cost effective. It just means that you know them and it's comfortable. Whatever gets you making that first initial step quicker and sooner. And start with the most basic level of amount of money that you can invest. And then in 2, 3, 4 months' time, go and look at it. Google some of the terminology, look at what words it's using. And start to look at investing, even if it's only half an hour a month or every other month. Just start investing some time, start understanding the terminology. So that's the best place to start. Obviously, you can speak to a financial advisor and get regulated advice. But unfortunately, when you're talking smaller amounts, sometimes clients don't want to pay regulated advice fees when they might be only investing, say, £50 a month, for example. That's why we have this podcast to help encourage people to start making some of these decisions initially on their own. And then as time grows, then they're more likely to come and get regulated advice and expand on that knowledge. Thanks for the question, Sam. So thank you for your questions from Ask Becky Anything. I'll be back again with another show and segment. Do send us your questions in. We'd love to hear from you. Take care. Thank you for joining us today at Accelerating Your Wealth with your host, myself, Rebecca Robertson. I hope you enjoyed the show. Do subscribe and let us know in the comments any of your thoughts.